Hello everyone, A.M.R. weather here, and today we'll be discussing to see if Debby potentially will form into a low-end hurricane. As we look at the sea surface temperatures, you can see they are way warm, plenty warm indeed. That little area of 30 degrees has now disappeared off Panama City. And if we look at the models, you could see that they have a low pressure system formed already on the GFS. But if you didn't know, it formed into Tropical Depression 4 last night. As you can see, we go through. They have it making landfall as maybe a low-end Cat 1. I could definitely see that happening now, since its low circulation has already formed. And as we go in, they have it even strengthening even more, potentially into a major hurricane, coming back and making a landfall in around the Georgia and South Carolina border. So, that would be crazy. And then you see they have a second storm forming and making a major hurricane landfall in Texas. But that is way far out, so don't pay attention to that yet. As we look at the European model, you could see that they have it making landfall as also a strong tropical storm and maybe have strengthened to a Cat 1 off the coast but weakened just before landfall. And then they have it strengthening into a Cat 2, maybe Cat 3 hurricane and making that landfall in South Carolina probably as a low-end Cat 2. And in the last model, we will be taking a look at the Canadian. There we go. And they have it making landfall as a strong tropical storm, if not hurricane. So all of the models do that now, which means they are pretty undivided now. And you can see that from the models. Now let's take a look at the wind shear. The wind shear has it still reflecting it. So if it can do that, who knows? It could definitely strengthen into a hurricane. Let's take a look at the rainfall map. Not the National Weather Service's one, just the one from Tropical Tidbits. But they have most of the rain over South Carolina and Georgia. You could see some pockets of maybe even 24 inches. That would definitely cause some major flooding issues. Here we go to this infrared. You could see it actually has its low-level circulation now because it got its act together. It moved a little south, and it got itself over the water, and it now has that low-level circulation. And it is looking better. You see on the southern side, all those cloud tops bursting overnight. Same thing with the top. The northeast quadrant already has those firing up from the night before. And on the National Weather Service, you could see they marked it as Tropical Depression 4. Here's the cone. They have it making landfall as a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm, maybe even a low-end Cat 1. That is why they put those hurricane watches out. So even though it's probably going to be a low-end Cat 1 at landfall, do not take this for granted. Be prepared and be ready. And then you see that they have it also, again, strengthening off the coast once it reemerges into the Atlantic. And lastly, the ocean heat content. You can see it's plenty warm in the Gulf, in those little areas of light blue, in those reds. And when it comes back off into the Atlantic, it has those yellows and greens. So it is plenty warm. So thank you all for joining me for this video and update on Debby, or potential Debby for that matter, but I'm pretty sure it will be marked as Debby. Please stay safe and be prepared.